Hey everybody, it is Team Call Tuesday. So we are halfway through June and we are getting closer and closer to Summit. I am super excited to be in Indy with all of you guys that will be going. We have a lot of first time goers, so it's going to be a blast. So part of the success of this business, and I am a prime example, is the community support, the accountability that comes from not only working with a coach, but also working in an environment with people that are like-minded and on the same journey. I know for me, I'm going to be 100% transparent. In the beginning, it was a lot easier for me to follow or lead challenge groups when I was on the journey with them. And as the years have went by and I'm just kind of like at maintenance status, it's been really hard. And on top of it too, I've had a lot of people that just don't make it past the first week. And I struggle with that. And I know that there's always going to be people who quit. And the one thing that I know is that watching Kristina and hearing what she talks about is that the lifeblood is her challenge group. And that is the case, is you want it to be a place that is supportive, that is fun, that holds them accountable so that they get the results, so that they build the confidence, so they, have outward, evidence of their journey that other people start to ask about, which obviously leads to business building, staying on path. But I personally suck at challenge groups. So I know that I've talked to so many other people. So I know that even people outside of our team that stumble across this recording are going to be helped, because I've heard Kristina talk about this a lot. But I asked her to be like super specific, because like I'm not one of those people when you're like, I pump in all this energy in my challenge groups, I challenge them, and I'm just like, okay, but like you got to be like, tell me X, Y, and Z. So I asked her to speak with us, and I know a lot of you messaged me today like, I just love her. So if you don't know her, she is a new superstar diamond coach, which is the highest rank that you could achieve within the company, and that's 15-star diamond. She is a mom to some cutie twins and a little sassy pants girl. She lives in New York, and she spoke on the team call maybe like 2 years ago, talking about how she was somebody that worked in the fitness industry and just kind of rolled her eyes at coaching. And finally, after I think 3 or 4 years, she finally said yes. And so she's done all the things out there, and she's a really humble person. So like, I'm not going to go on and on, but she is absolutely amazing to follow her journey. She has been in the 100 morning meltdown, or whatever it's called. And she ended up having knee surgery, and she's still rocking it to the best of her ability, getting results, showing up. So she's somebody that you definitely would love to follow, because she's really great on social media and really embodies what a coach should be. So I'm gonna turn it over to her, and then at the end, if you have questions, just let her know.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Don't look at my stories now. I just was rewatching them, and I was like, oh my God, my stories suck today. So I threw up a be right back. I've got something fun to share. So everyone can hold tight for the next 30, and then I'm going to have to come up with something fun to share in the next 30, which will probably be a transformation. But I'm someone that if I don't, and this kind of correlates with challenge groups too, if I'm not entertained by my own stories, I don't expect anyone else to be entertained by my stories. And so today, mine bored me. So I know I need to come up with something before the end of the night so that I don't feel like today was a wash. That's just me, myself, and how I am. So I don't have anything planned, because this is something challenge groups, boot camps, however you want to call them, is just my thing. And I'd rather go back and forth with you guys and kind of brainstorm with you guys, because you guys can give me ideas. I can give you ideas too. But the background, I don't need to tell you anything about my story. Who cares? And what I'm very big on is when I'm talking to you guys, I want to make sure I'm providing value for you. So as much as I want you guys listening and taking notes and whatever you need to do, I would love it if you're actually inviting to your challenge group during this call. So I know that at the end of this, you did something to move your business forward. That you didn't just do it to collect knowledge, but you actually were taking action during this call to actually move your business forward. So I'm totally cool if you don't make eye contact with me. But so challenge groups are something that on day one, when I started coaching, I have never been in a challenge group. I asked to be in one. I was denied. So I don't even know what a challenge group looked like. And so I sat there, and I was someone that didn't want to just wait and find out. I wanted to hit the ground running. I knew I had goals that I wanted to hit right out the bat, and I knew to do so, I needed to get people plugged in and do something. And so I actually humbled myself, because I'm actually a very, as much as outgoing and that I am, because this business fires me up and gets me out of my shell. I'm actually really like quiet and like standoffish. Like I'll never like approach Mindy and be like, oh my gosh, hey girl, blah, blah. But if she comes to me, I probably won't shut up, but that's just my personality. But I knew that I had to do something because I don't want to say welcome, but I wasn't invited to a challenge group and I wasn't accepted when I asked. And so I actually went to somebody else on my uplines team and was like, hey, is there any way you could drop me in your group for like 30 minutes? I don't even know what one of these things look like. Like I had no idea what this was. And I love this girl who put me in, I don't even know if she's still coaching, but she put me in her group. She was like, oh my God, sure. She put me in her group and it was just quotes. And every day I noticed she would like throw up a quote. And in my head, I was like, I would never show up to this. It just wasn't my vibe. It wasn't who I connected with. It wasn't the style that I connected with. So I instantly was like, okay, well, I see an outline of what one looks like. And there's like food blogs. And back then it was all like Facebook. And I was like, okay, but what would I show up to? What would I get excited about? What challenges would I show up to? What style of a boot camp would I show up to? And if you're involved in one, I challenge you to make yours 10 times better than your coaches. So you look at your coaches and you're like, okay, that's cool. She's leader. She's boss AF. Like, awesome. I'm going to do better. I'm going to one up. I'm going to make mine even more exciting. And then look at your challenge group and be like, if you're yourself not excited to get into your challenge group and see what people are dropping every day, you need to tweak things. Because I leverage my challenge groups in all different ways. And I'll share a bunch of these ways. But I'm someone that like, if I'm bored in a day, I will throw up a challenge in my boot camp to give me entertainment. And it won't be about health and fitness because people don't show up to health and fitness challenges. I sprinkle in probably like every day, like, I want them to log and I want them to post their food logs and I want them to drop sweaty selfies and all that like fun stuff because that gets me to see who's coach quality. But for entertainment purposes, to keep people in it, I do challenges that have nothing to do with boot camp. My biggest one is Would You Rather? And I grab the grossest Would You Rather questions ever, and I put them up there, and they're getting dropped all throughout the day. I have the most traction on those days because people want to go in there and see other people's answers. They want to see what people are going to say. They want to combat back and forth, and there's all this different like conversations going. So for myself, if I'm seeing like a dip in something, the biggest thing that I can offer is to do something completely not related, because what happens is these people who aren't in the grind, aren't in the goals, they're not doing their food logs, they're not drinking their shakes, they're not working out, they're not doing anything. If they see something completely unrelated, it's the same as someone who's ghosting your conversation about your challenge group, but they'll comment about your new puppy, right? If you do something completely and it's like, girl, now I got you. You just commented that was the dumbest move you could make because now I'm all over you because I know you're still in here. And then I pounce on you, right? So you're dragging them out and you're like, girl, you'll talk about whether you'll eat cockroaches or diarrhea, but you won't drop a sweaty selfie. Like, we got some issues here. And so that type of stuff, one, it entertains me. It keeps me excited. And guess what? It keeps them engaged where they don't feel like a drop off, where they don't feel like, oh, I'm too far behind. I'm like 4 days behind on my workout. No, they want to go in there and they want to see what's happening. I'm just going to spew out a bunch of different things. So then I'm going to say, like, in the beginning, my boot camps was like food log galore. None of us had confidence to show. I remember like my first couple coaches who dropped our challenges or whoever who dropped transformation pictures. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even like have to like bribe you for those. Like, you actually got results and you posted that. Like, could I share it? Like, I think the first person, I was like, I'll give you a $20 gift card if I can share your transformation, because I was so shocked that they even dropped a transformation. And I was like, oh my God. And then it became a thing because then I got confidence to start dropping my transformation, and then it became a thing, right? So in the beginning, my boot camps were boring. People weren't showing up. I was the only person showing up. I was frustrated, but I'm also a results person. So I'm someone who doesn't get discouraged by that, but gets empowered. And whenever anything's not going my way, I do a watch me mentality where I'm like, all right, well, watch what I'm going to do now. So in the beginning, when no one was showing up to my boot camps and it was boring and it was like dreadful and everything, what did I do? I kept recruiting. And I hate that word, but whatever. That's what we're doing. We're recruiting people in. I added people to my boot camp until I found this winning combo couple who came in and just fired the entire group up. And that's all it took, was 1 to 2 people who was so energetic, in your face, like, bah! Yes, the Feldmans. They rolled up into my group and they were just obnoxious and funny, did every challenge I dropped on there, made it funny, entertained everybody, and all of a sudden morale lifted. So it wasn't necessarily me doing anything differently, but getting that fresh blood in there at all times until you find that Willy Wonka ticket that's going to take you and skyrocket your challenge group. So then what do you got to do? Because guess what you did 3 years ago doesn't work now. It's boring now. And for me, when they came out with the challenge tracker, was my perfect ability to then leverage having to be active to be in my challenge groups. And this has been something that was a game changer for myself. So in the beginning, what I did with challenge groups is it was on Facebook, and I never dropped, like, for anybody who's like, oh, I don't have a transformation, whatever. I did not drop a transformation my first year in the business, besides a face one that was like 6 months past when someone's like, you have to drop a transformation. I didn't have the like confidence enough to drop a transformation. The way that I got people signed up is I was consistent as, I can swear it's Mindy, fuck. I was non-negotiable, showed up all the time. And I made my boot camp sound like it was like, I have this mentality of fake it until you make it, as long as you intend on making it. And what I mean by that is fake it until you make it, as long as you're willing to put in the work that you know that you're going to make it. Because it's not cool to fake it, not make it. You feel embarrassed. So for myself is I would make my boot camps look amazing, right? And what I would do is I would tell people, and this was Facebook days, so if you're using challenge groups on Facebook, is I would say, oh my gosh, why don't you drop in? Can I drop you in my boot camp for like an hour? You can sneak, all of it and check it all out. See if it's your vibe. I'll follow up with you and we'll get you plugged in afterwards. And what I would do is I would pin the transformation post on the top. So it was the first thing, because it's all anybody cares about. And then they see people happy and excited and dropping GIFs and this, that, and the other. And that's how I initially grew my business, was giving them a sneak peek into that world, letting them get that FOMO vibe. And I was like, wow, that works. Well, then I moved it to the challenge tracker, and I couldn't just drop people in. And I was like, what am I going to do? Well, then I had stories. Then I had posts. Then I had conversations I could have with people. And so I created FOMO with that, but I also created 2 separate challenge groups. So I know a lot of people do like your challenge group, and then you do your grad group, where like someone goes through a challenge group for like the one program and they move into the graduate group, and it's this massive group of like all your customers and challengers. What I did is I created that on the challenge tracker, so that I was able to tell family and friends who were like, come on, just drop me in for free. I was like, oh, I actually can't unless you're my customer. So unless you're my customer, this isn't my app, so I have to be a customer to go in here. And so that got me out of that awkward conversation. And what I did is I have 2 groups. And one is I labeled it Epic Shred, so I don't ever have to say it. I'm in the process of making it into like trademarking it, because there's an actual coach who stole my application, my verbiage, my entire like everything. And she's actually a successful coach and knocked off my entire boot camp. So I'm like, all right, bitch, I'm going to spend $700 and trademark this shit so you get off of it. But I'm very much into being original, standing out, unique. I don't associate with Beachbody. I align with Beachbody. I align with Beachbody. So when someone says like, oh, is this Beachbody? I'm like, well, I align with their products and programs because it's the only way I can guarantee you results and make sure that you're going to like crush life with me. And you're coming to me because you're wondering what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So it's never a conversation of me having to justify why Beachbody is like, you want results or not? Because you're coming to me, we're in this conversation, and this is how you get it. So I have these 2 groups, right? I have my Epic Shred that I brand. So when I'm talking about it on social media, it's not my challenge group. It's not my boot camp. It's not my 21-day program. It's Epic Shred. So then I have people being like, what is Epic Shred? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my virtual boot camp. You need to jump in here. It's like an underground fit club. It's like dumb that you're not in here. And I lead it with excitement and confidence when I'm having that conversation. But then I also have we call it the Walking Dead behind the scenes, but I call it self-paced when I'm in conversation with people. So what I do now is the self-paced group is for people who aren't active. So if they're not purchasing something PV, 50 PV or more, they get placed into this group. Still the same content, still the same ability to jump on any of our live calls, any of our bootcamp happy hour calls, any of our live workouts. They can get on anything. The only difference is the vibe is completely different, and we call it the Walking Dead because no one shows up because they're not on Shakeology, they're not on the performance line, they're not investing in their goals. They're just sitting back and crossing their fingers and hoping something's going to work. And so at the end of every month, I say like, all right, guys, we're going to roll into the next round of Epic Shred. Remember that in order to have access into into the next round, you need to I don't say you need to be active or you need to purchase. I say you have to receive, and I drop all the different products. You have to be receiving these by next month in order to access this group. And I'll have some people be like, oh, I'm going to delay this month. And then other people are chiming in. They're like, don't go over there. Cause it's like a dead zone over there. Like the people know you don't want to get into that group because you go over there and then they're like, no one even shows up over here. And I'm like, right. Cause they're not invested in their goals. They're not invested in anything. They have no skin in the game. but I'm still providing you value. I'm not turning my head on you. You still have direct access to me. You're in one of my groups. The only difference is the vibe. So it takes that guilt factor out of like, you have to purchase something to work with me. No, they have that ability. But guess what? If you want to level up and start hitting goals, you're going to want to be over here. And that's given me that ability to take that ick factor and that weird conversation out. And that if someone's like, I just want to try it out for 2 weeks, this is what I've started doing. Because before it was challenge, pack, or bust. Now with all the volume talk and everything, this is what I'm doing now. So I'm saying, okay, you can either go all in and jump in and I can guarantee your results and we can like crush life together. Or if you're not ready to commit to your goals, then we can test and try it out. And those key words kind of take people like offensive. Like, what do you mean I'm not ready to commit? I'm ready to buy Energize. Like, you ain't commit to shit except being the Energizer bunny during your workouts. That's all you're committing to. So for myself, I say, or if you're not ready to do that, you can test and try. I don't even care if you get the Fixate cookbook. You get something in your hands. You get in my challenge group, boot camp, whatever you want to call it. You get in there, what's going to happen? You can't participate in the challenge because you don't have the products and programs. You're not going to get the results that everyone's doing, but you're going to get FOMO over the results they're doing. You don't have BOD, you're going to really struggle showing up to our 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. or like whatever our workouts are to do it with us because you don't have that. And it creates that FOMO where then they're going to see, oh, these people are having so much fun. They're having all this excitement, this, that, and the other. And they're going to want to be a part of that. And they're probably going to level up to enroll with something else. So it's something that I say, you know what, you can test it out for this month. And then if you want to go all in on your goals, you can enroll into the next round. Otherwise, I have a self-paced group that you can jump in and they will feel the difference when they go into one or the other of the excitement and hype around this like all in challenge group. And then this Walking Dead challenge group that they sit in and they're like, oh, these are like my people that don't want to invest in anything and don't have any goals and aren't doing anything in life. Yeah, I don't want to be here. I want to go over here. Tell me how I can get in. So that's kind of how I've leveraged that conversation with people. And then, so what happened in the progress is I have, with new coaches coming in, I struggle a little bit with this, but I'm working through it where I allow coaches their first 3 months. I'm like, you can drop people into my challenge group. That way they're not worrying about doing anything other than inviting and adding people into my challenge group. This is where the problem comes in. If they don't add enough people and they don't gain enough confidence to make some moves or link up with other people, or they drop these people into this really high energy, large boot camp, and then they pull them out with like 2 or 3 of them, it's one of those that's like they get scared that they're not providing enough value. They get nervous that they're not doing enough or that they're going to take their people from this like amazing, community to this small community. And I was struggling with that of like, I don't want people to ever feel like that. However, I need to get people to leader up because I'm someone who has always been a hand holder. Like, instead of like, let me lead the way and teach you how to be a leader, I'm like, here, I'll help you and we'll do this together. When I had to learn the hard way, that then I recruit a lot of people that are looking for like, I know you support your people and you handle your people and they're allowed to do that. And it's like as a leader, that's your worst nightmare to have people that are just baby birds underneath their wings all the time. And so I was noticing we did this massive push to 15, and let me like preface this. The Thursday before I went 15 qual, we were a 5-star diamond team. This was a decision. This was a bunch of coaches that have notably all said now. So if you have a bunch of coaches on here that are like 4 or 5 coaches away from diamond, or even I had a girl who was 9 coaches away from diamond. I was literally trying to get her to convince the coach above her that stopped working to pop to diamond. She's like, let's cancel her out and I'll do it. I'm like, you're 39 weeks pregnant. We have 7 days to do this. No. And so I'm telling you guys this because I want you to really think about where you are in the business, where it was literally a decision that they all made that they said, if this was up for me, I didn't care to hit diamond. Like, yeah, it'd be great. Like, we're into the community vibe, whatever. And it was something that they all were like, but we knew it was a bigger mission. And if we all did this together, we were going to achieve something more. And I felt like I had other people relying on me, so I did it. And we did it in 3 days. Like, I had to be on the phone with Jemima every day because I'm like, this is legit. I swear this is legit. There's no shady stuff going on. But it was something that I want you guys to think of for your own teams and everything, that if you put a non-negotiable, you're a female. You put a non-negotiable out there, you're going to hit it. If you don't have a choice, if you put something out there and you're like, I want to achieve this by Summit, I want to achieve this because my spouse is doubting this business. I want to achieve this because I need to hit this goal with my own transformation. Freaking do it. Stop thinking about it, stop doubting it, and stop putting a timeline on it. Put a date on it, make it a non-negotiable, and you're going to do whatever it takes to actually get there. Like point blank period. And I'll go over something at the very end that I think will help. But I noticed after we did this large push, it was a massive push, right? And that we all just went freeze mode. And it's the same mode that happens after you get out of Summit, where you have all this information and you just don't know what to do with it. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, well, I'm really excited. Everyone should just feed off that and just come to me. And it doesn't happen. You have to put in the work. And I was getting anxiety. I was like, I'm bored in my own challenge group. I'm noticing that my crew isn't excited. No one's getting a transformation. Everyone's stagnant. And that's one thing that I know, no matter what's going on in your business, always get a transformation. I don't care if it's physical, financial, mental, whatever it is, you should always be evolving in some sort of way and showing what's possible with this business. And so I was getting anxious and I'm like, all right, I need to lead her up and figure out a way to get people interested, excited, whatever. So I want to make sure I'm not like flying over in time. I will hurry up, I promise. So I decided we're going to do a team-wide boot camp. And it was something that everybody has their own separate boot camps, but we all work together to do. I was like, it needs to be something that is a party vibe, that we're all excited, that we're posting social media challenges to get our challengers to post social media wise and not even know that they're coaching. Right? Like, hey, drop this, do that. Like, let's do a dance off and tag 5 people you don't know in this challenge group and everyone drop their IG handles. People will drop their IG handles and tag like crazy because everyone likes recognition, but they don't want to feel like they're coaching. I've had so many people that are like, everybody wants to know what this sip and lift. We call it sip and lift boot camp. They're like, everybody wants to know what this is. We created the hashtag sip and lift. So we're like, oh, you want to know what this is? Go create this hashtag on the stories or on the post, and you're going to see all of our content in there. And all of us, we've gotten kind of lazy about it, but it's created this party vibe that then it's getting my challengers more excited. It's getting my leaders to branch off and form their own boot camps because guess what? They're the same content that's in mine. And we're all still working together. We're all still meeting up in different groups, and we have bootcamp happy hour calls and live workouts, and they're linking together. And it's created an ability for people to branch off and still feel confident and have the energy that goes along with a larger group that maybe one of the leaders on the team has. And then one of the last things that I'll mention that I started doing was like I just did a FabFitFun thing. So if you do giveaways in your challenge groups, social media, we have to be strategic on how we're posting and how you're getting traction because traction sucks, algorithms suck, you can't beat them, so let's figure out a way to trick them. And so I was like, you know what? I was planning on giving a FabFitFun giveaway down in my post for somebody, and I'm like, screw that. I'm going to say, hey, one of my Epic Shred crew, I'm going to do a FabFitFun giveaway tomorrow. I posted that in my post so that people knew that like the only people that were going to win that were people that were my challenge group. And then what happened is I posted in Epic Shred and I was like, hey, guys, I'm going to do, anybody who wants to win this FabFitFun box, go comment in the post that you are an Epic Shred, and I'm going to pick one of you. And what happened is I didn't tell them to do, all I said is post, I'm an Epic Shred. They started posting like, oh my gosh, you need to be in there. I'm already a winner. I don't even need this box because I'm an Epic Shred and it's the best thing ever, blah, blah, blah. And it bumped my traction up. And the post itself did horrible, but the traction was really high, so it spun out to a lot of other people. And anybody who's looking at the FabFitFun box, which is like trendy, fun, bougie box, is they're seeing like, well, why are all these people commenting they're in Epic Shred? And holy crap, there's a lot of people in this. And so it tricked people in that way to get interested. So I'm always constantly evolving and thinking of different ways that I can either get people in or keep people in. So, and the last thing I want to say is this might help some of your coaches, and I'll be done, I swear. 3 different types of coaches. You have your, I've said this a bunch of times, but you have your cheerleaders who Mindy will say, hey, this is the goal that we're going for this year, and you will cheer her on. You'll be the first person to support it, and they go on live. You're liking and loving and commenting, and you go, I'm so excited, but you have no intention of actually helping Mindy get to that goal because you're not going to actually do anything to your business. That's a cheerleader, right? That's very, very necessary to be a successful coach. But then you have the must be nice that heard my accolades and is like, oh, must be nice. You must have this bomb team that did amazing. You must have this firecracker that's crushing it. And, oh, you get to walk across the stage. Well, you've been in the business for 4 years, blah, blah, blah. Must be nice isn't a compliment. And you already set a deadline and an expiration date of your success. So get that out of your head. And then there's a hustler that looks at my accolades and looks at and combines the cheerleader aspect and says, watch what I'm about to do. Cheer everybody along while I do it, while everybody cheers me on because I'm going to hit those goals. That's the type of successful coach. So wherever you are, upgrade yourself to where you need to be to get in that hustle mode. And then the 2 questions I ask myself every single morning is, am I the coach that I would enroll with? So right now, your mindset, if you're thinking real crappy thoughts about what you're struggling with, I would never enroll with you, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to enroll with you. And are you the coach that you want on your team? Are you showing up to the team calls? Are you showing up to the National Wake Up Call? Are you going to Summit? Are you posting on the page? Are you adding value? Are you leadering up? Are you doing the hard things? And I was someone who I gut checked myself the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'm yes to both of those answers, but I could be so much more. There's so much more potential. Like I could do all the things and be this like rock star superstar coach, right? But there's so much more I could do. And so I challenge you guys to ask yourself those questions and then question your worth and your ability and what's possible and go after that. Sorry, I'm like long-winded.
No, that was perfect and perfect timing. You know, my husband and I were talking the other day about something that somebody suggested. And then we were like, dude, when we were struggling for months about this, like, why didn't we think of that? And I feel like if you get in those moments, and it doesn't have to be coaching or anything like that, but you're like banging your head against the wall, it's good to ask somebody else, because Tony Robbins says if you ask the same dumb questions, you're just going to keep getting crappy answers. But when you ask the right questions, so for me, I'm going to ask the right person to ask somebody else. And so this just gave me tons of like ideas, because I was like, well, when you say you do all these challenges, I'm like, my mind's like, what's the challenge? Like, I'm so boring, and I am a pretty boring person, but I like what you were saying about it doesn't have to be fitness related, because I was thinking like, what do you do about fitness? Because nobody really wants to talk about fitness. So that was like, for me, that was the point that really stuck out. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything that you want answered?
Yeah, those challenges, just saying, because this is like the awkward part where Mindy's like, for the love of God, somebody ask a question, because this is horrible when it's like dead zone. But like those types of challenges, like we did like tomorrow's challenge is like, what's the oldest, like we're like kicking old school, what's the oldest thing in your fridge? And that's like real gross. Like someone's going to come up with some, or like open your fridge on Monday. I want to see what it looks like. And everyone's like, well, the top shelf is for my husband and like those fruit snacks and that's for my kid. I'm like, bitch, you bought those. Those are yours. Like don't go and get it twisted. But stuff like that. And just keeping that, like you want to be able to show your boot camp every single day and it be something that somebody wants to be in.
Awesome. I think Melissa had something to say. Melissa?
No, I was just going to say, stop. I went into my challenge group and I just said, would you rather sleep in a bed of cockroaches or snakes? And people are like going crazy right now. So I whenever we're on these calls, I always like to test out immediately, just like you were saying. And it's good, like super, super good.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of weird what they'll go through, and like I'll find like I post some like real nasty ones and they're like, that's so gross. And I'm like, you commented, thank you.
Crystal said, I'm not very good with being vulnerable. How do you guys share things without feeling overly vulnerable? So I think what I heard Kristina say is that she poured herself into, challenge groups, helped other people get confidence, because in the beginning she wasn't confident about sharing her transformation pictures, and just did what she could with what she was confident in doing and then built it. And I know myself and Melissa, both, that's what we did, is that it took some time, personal development, and just constantly pushing yourself out of that comfort zone a little bit at a time, and not looking at people like us who've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, because it was like baby steps there, but just small things. And Crystal, you and I can talk about this, on a more personal level, where I can help direct you on, finding where you're at comfort wise and giving you some little challenges to do that. But did you guys have anything that's helped you guys?
I would say also like, it's your own journey. So like go with your own comfort level. And in the beginning, I wouldn't post a transformation picture because I wasn't confident enough to. And now like, I'll like post myself pretty much in my underwear. I'll send it to my husband. I'm like, you down? He's like, I don't care. Go do what you got to do. And I say people don't buy challenge packs or enroll with me because I posted that picture. People enroll with me and trust with me because they see that I've gained this confidence that I didn't have before. I don't post those because I think that it's going to get anybody. I don't post those because of anything. I post those because I'm finally able to do that for myself. That not that it's anything like, oh, I need to post myself in that to like feel good about myself. But the fact that I'm even able to look in the mirror like that, let alone share that with somebody, is like mind blowing to me. And that's just part of my journey and something that I'm a part of, and not something that might not be part of your journey. That might not be something that you ever aspire to do or anything like that. But if it is, work towards it and get uncomfortable to get comfortable. That would be like my biggest piece of advice.
The only thing I'd add on to what Mindy and Kristina said is think about the thing that you struggle with right now and how you could help somebody else through that as you grow through it. And it is going to take time. It is going to take, I mean, I didn't come into this business 5 years ago talking about the things that I talk about. And now I'm pretty open and vulnerable on the things that I do. And people tell me all the time, like, oh, I could never share that. But I couldn't have shared this 5 years ago without having to do the work. So don't feel like you have to go out and share your whole story today. Like, do baby steps.
And, and piggybacking off that, like my last thought is that, going through all the personal development, like I wouldn't be able to give you this advice if I didn't follow people that are my mentors, and that helped me, improve myself. And Tony Robbins is a big influential one in Melissa and I's life. We went to his events, but, he talks about that. It's virtually impossible to be depressed when you are helping somebody else, and not that you're depressed, but when you're thinking like, God, I'm struggling with this. Who could I help by sharing this? Then it gets you out of your head and it makes it have a bigger purpose. And that's what helped me with all my pain in my past, is like when I realized, oh, this has a purpose. I can help people. I can connect with people who can help me. Those are the things that made it easier to share. And like I said, there's some really doozy things that I started sharing, but it was a couple years into coaching. And it, and that's something that's, I know some coaches who reach out to me personally and have had the same things happen. And they're like, I'll never share that. And here they are, just as many years later, and they haven't shared it. So you don't have to do that to be successful. So
yeah, document your fears and handle your objections, because you're going to have a coach in a year from now that's going to have that exact same question. And you're going to want to be able to say firsthand how you handled it, because you can't expect somebody else to handle it if you can't. So work your way through it. And if you personally can't, get some coaches around you that did, so you can use that as an example of success.
Yep. All right, you guys, if you don't have any more questions, she's on Eastern Standard Time, so I try to be
fine.
So anyways, anything? No? Well, we appreciate you. We love you. This has helped me so much.
Good.
Thank you. You guys have